What's up, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast. If you are new here, my name is Mel, and I'm your favorite astrologer. I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where we help you unlock your divinity and discover your magic. All right, so if you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. All right. So this channel is everything tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. Speaking of content, if you can't get enough of me, and I don't blame you, and you need more content, head over to Instagram and hit that follow button. I've got loads of excellent daily content. Plus, I go live over there every Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for live tarot readings by sign. All right, so let's let the good folks over at Twitter know that we are live so they can come and join us. All right, so like I said, it's another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast. I'm excited this week. This week is going to be quite a bit of activity. We've got a lot going on this week. So if you remember from my July monthly Astro Forecast, and if you haven't checked that out yet, I highly suggest you do. The link will be in the description box below. But I mentioned that July is definitely a different beast than June. June was relatively quiet. There weren't that many transits going on, so everything was kind of still. But now July, like, it is hot. It is hot out there. It is summer, and the astrology is hot. All right. And this week is no exception because, like I said, we've got a lot to cover, a lot going on this week. And there's one transit in particular that I'm really excited to explain to you, and I'm really excited about coming up. Like, it's going to be really good. All right. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's do some housekeeping first. So if you are here live, definitely hit that like button on your way in, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. And also, if you're new to astrology, or if you have started studying astrology and you're sort of trying to really get it down pat so that you can start learning more advanced things, I've created this beautiful little document called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet. It basically gives you the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying astrology. It's got the planets, it's got the houses, it's got the signs and the aspects. Okay, so it's everything that you need to start learning astrology, understanding what it means, because definitely during these forecasts, I always kind of give a lot of these, I'm very technical. So I'm all about the astrology language, the astrology lexicon. And so sometimes it can be a little confusing. So in an effort to get you to understand what I'm talking about, I created this cheat sheet. All right. It's a free download. All you need to do is provide your email address. The link is going to be in the description box below. So head over there and definitely download it. I mean, people are absolutely loving it. I think I'm going to expand it perhaps into an ebook pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. All right. So hello, Patricia Jean. What's going on? Hi. Happy Sunday. All right. So let's get to what we're talking about this week. So these are the highlights for this week. All right. So to start, we have a date with destiny. All right. The North Node is playing a serious role this week, and it's going to align us with where we need to go. We're definitely going to have opportunities to sort of get on the right track and move ahead in life. Specifically, I didn't put this in the weekly forecast in terms of, the daily breakdown, but it's definitely worth mentioning because whenever you talk about the North Node, it's always about destiny, okay? And it's always about getting to where we need to go, moving forward in life, all that great stuff. And so on Monday, we have the Sun sextile the North Node. And then on Thursday, we have Mercury sextile the North Node. So to make it short and sweet and understandable, anytime you involve the North Node, it's all about fate. It's all about destiny. And so this week, we're going to have the opportunity, right? Because sextiles equal opportunity. We're going to have the opportunity to not only express ourselves, but communicate with others. And in doing so, we're going to be able to align ourselves with our destiny. So essentially what you want to do this week is definitely be yourself. Definitely express yourself and definitely socialize and talk to other people, because I think that this week in particular, people are going to be extremely helpful in helping us align with our destinies and helping us get to where we need to go. All right. And when one thing I forgot to mention, it wouldn't hurt to sort of get out a pen and paper and sort of jot some of these things down. Write down some of the important dates because it can be a lot of information and you may hear something that definitely resonates with you or that's really important. Maybe you've got something important going on a particular day of the week. So definitely get some pen and paper and jot some of this down because I'm dropping some serious gems. All right. So again, back to this date with destiny. Essentially, like I said, you're definitely going to want to express yourself, be your unique and authentic self. The sun is all about our personality. It's all about sort of the essence of what makes us us, right? And with a sextile to the North Node, expressing yourself is going to attract the right people. With Mercury in the mix, having the right conversations with people, talking to different people is definitely going to be beneficial. And we actually have another transit this week that's actually going to build on that. But I'll get to that when I get into the daily breakdown. All right. So first thing up, we have a date with destiny. Second thing is the moon phases this week. Okay. So this week is going to be pretty interesting, right? Because we have a full moon, which, you can see in the breakdown, but I'll be explaining a little bit more in detail later. But the way that the moon is going to be set up, so we're going from Capricorn to Pisces, okay? And not only that, we're going from the waxing phase to the full moon to the waning phase, all right? So there's going to be this energy of like a buildup, a crescendo, and then like a letdown, okay? So if you find that you're particularly emotional this week, that would be why, because full moons are always super emotional, number one. But the fact that it's like we're going into three different phases of the lunar cycle means that it's a little bit of an emotional roller coaster, all right? So don't be surprised if your emotions are sort of all over the place. So the next up, we have the full moon in Capricorn, which is going down on Wednesday, and I'm going to enumerate on that a bit later. But long story short, this full moon is going to be a little serious because Capricorn as a sign tends to be very serious. And this is really going to have a lot to do with work, with our public life. It could be with father figures or authority figures. Any of those four kind of themes is sort of the generalization of what's going to play out during this full moon. Okay. And again, with the particular astrology, it's going to be quite powerful. It's also a super full moon, which I'll explain further. I'll explain in detail a little bit later. But needless to say, this full moon is going to be a little more on the serious side. All right. And then we have I'm like super excited to talk to you about this. Number one, because I geek out over astrology. Anything technical, anything that you have to study and research, I geek out over. And this is one of those like technical astrology terms that not too many people talk about, but it's actually really powerful. And it's called Cazimi. And Mercury in particular is going to be Cazimi on Saturday. And I'm going to get into that when I talk about Saturday. But needless to say, it's a very fortunate and auspicious transit. It's one of those like icing on the cake kind of things. And for sometimes it affects people in a very major way. Other times it can be very subtle, but it's like a nice little pleasant surprise that Mercury is going to give us towards the end of the week. So I'm really excited to talk to you about that. And then finally, we have Venus moving into Cancer. Venus is going to change signs. It's moving out of frenetic Gemini, and we're moving into soft and sensitive Cancer on Sunday. So like I said, lots going on this week. So let's get into it. All right. So on Tuesday, like I mentioned, we have the moon moving into Capricorn. Then on Wednesday, the moon will remain in Capricorn and it'll reach full moon status. Thereafter, we have Mercury sextile Uranus and Venus trine Saturn. Then on Thursday, we have the moon moving into quirky Aquarius and Venus will square Neptune. Then on Saturday, we have the moon moving into Pisces and we have the sun conjunct Mercury. And then we close out the week with Venus moving into Cancer. The sun and Mercury will both trine Neptune. All right, so let's start things off with Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we have the moon moving into Capricorn, and you'll see the brown moon towards the right-hand side of your screen at 0 degrees Capricorn. All right, so let's talk about it. Moon in Capricorn is serious, okay? Capricorn is one of those signs that's all about business, all about status. It's a cardinal earth sign. So Cancer is actually its sister sign, but I'll get into that in a second. Capricorn is very serious. It's a cardinal earth sign, meaning that it likes to start things in a very practical way. If there's one word to describe Capricorn, it would be success, because Capricorn is all about success. One of the many symbols of Capricorn is the goat, right? And it's usually depicted as the goat, all by itself, climbing up the mountain, just it's all about reaching the top of the mountain, reaching the apex, reaching the summit. And so Capricorn is very much concerned with success and achievement. Capricorn as a sign is also about, like diligence. It's also about a bit of struggle, life lessons. Capricorn is a tough sign, okay? It's tough because it's got the determination and the endurance to sort of reach the apex, right? Because you need a lot of endurance and diligence and patience in order to make your way to the top. But it's also, because it's ruled by Saturn, it deals with things like delays, obstacles, challenges. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and this phrase came to mind, and it's like, the best sailors are made during storms. You earn your stripes in times of adversity, and that's definitely the character of Capricorn. And so when the moon is in Capricorn, we get like emotional fulfillment from achieving things, from working diligently when we work towards a goal, when we have something in mind and we put in the physical work, the mental work, and we have the endurance, the patience, and most importantly, the discipline to see it through. That's sort of the essence of Capricorn. And that's where we derive our emotional fulfillment when the moon is in Capricorn. Now on Tuesday, when the moon is in Capricorn, this is right before it reaches full moon status. So on Tuesday, the moon is still in the waxing gibbous phase, meaning that it's still getting larger, it's still getting brighter, right? And during this phase of the moon, this is when we are building things, where we're still working towards the fulfillment of our goals. And so when the moon is in Capricorn, this is putting the final touches, the finishing touches, putting in that last bit of work in order to bring our intentions to fruition. So, I would say that on Tuesday, we may feel the urge to be productive, like really get down to business. Even if you're starting something new, I feel like the moon in Capricorn is going to give you that push to be diligent about it. And the thing is with Capricorn, things move kind of slowly. This isn't a sign like Aries that really does things really quickly and expects quick results. Everything about Capricorn is slow and steady. And even though it's right before the full moon, I feel like it's still going to give us that energy to sort of put in the work to bring our goals to fruition. All right. So again, Tuesday's a great day for practical things. It's a great day to actually just do work and be productive, but not just be productive for the sake of productivity. It's really about being productive with an eye towards achievement and an eye towards success. All right. So that's Tuesday. So now we move into Wednesday, and Wednesday is it's one of the star days of the week, because on Wednesday we just have a lot going on. So first we have the full moon in Capricorn. And so you'll see that the sun and the moon are opposite. You'll see the moon at the bottom of the screen, the sun at the top of the screen. And so they're opposite, hence why it's a full moon. The sun is actually going to be conjunct Mercury, and the moon is going to be conjunct Pluto. So the astrology of the full moon is pretty interesting and a bit intense. All right. The same day, we have a Mercury, which is conjunct the sun, which is going to be sextile to Uranus in Taurus. And you'll see Uranus at the top right hand of your screen, that little blue guy at 18 degrees Taurus. And that same day, we have Venus, which is at 24 degrees Gemini. You'll see that at the top, right hand of your screen. And then that will be trine Saturn. You'll see that towards the bottom of your screen at 24 degrees Aquarius. So like I said, we've got a lot going on Wednesday. So full moon in Capricorn to be exact. So full moons are all about balance, right? Because we've got the sun on one end and the moon on the other. And full moons illuminate. Excuse me. Full moons illuminate. So usually full moons tend to be really emotional because they illuminate places in our lives or situations in our lives that may be out of balance. And so the balance that needs to be achieved during this full moon is the balance between our public life, because Capricorn represents the public, Capricorn represents our working life, and Cancer, right? Because the sun is in Cancer, and Cancer represents our private life and our home life. So many of us may have an imbalance between the two. Maybe we're spending too much of our energy at work and not enough at home, or vice versa. Okay. Or maybe we're really sheltered and we're not putting ourselves out there, especially in business or in work. All right. And so the full moon is really going to illuminate that. Some of the themes of this full moon are going to be things like work, things like achievements, success, people such as men, particularly older men, authority figures may come into the fold with this full moon. Full moons also illuminate, okay? And so wherever Capricorn is in your chart, wherever this full moon is going down in your chart, that's the area of life that's going to be illuminated. So you may uncover something, a secret may be uncovered, or just something that you haven't noticed is going to come to your attention. But regardless of where it's going down in your chart, the theme is really going to be about achievement, about work, authority figures, success. All of those things are sort of going to be the undercurrent of this full moon. All right, let's see what else that we have. Yeah, so the moon is also going to be conjunct Pluto. Now, Pluto is retrograde right now. So retrograde Pluto really concerns itself with bringing things back to life. It's about resurrection. It's about transformation from the inside out. So wherever this full moon is in your chart, you can expect it to be pretty intense. So prepare yourself to feel all the feels. I feel like this full moon is going to be pretty emotional. But the fact that it's in a not so emotional sign, because Capricorn definitely wouldn't classify Capricorn as emotional. The fact that it's happening in a sign like Capricorn, I feel like it's not going to be overly emotional as if it were happening in Cancer or in Pisces or Scorpio even. But I still think that emotions are definitely going to run high. Even if it's not your emotions that are running high, maybe the people around you may be really emotional and very sensitive. Okay. So something could be coming back into the fold with Pluto retrograde. So let's say you had a job in the past that either changed or maybe you lost it. Perhaps that job or an aspect of that job may be coming back around. Okay. And again, it depends on where this is going down in your chart. Certain people may be coming back around, right? Especially if they are authority figures, bosses, male people. Males, older males, right? Maybe coming back around, or there may be an issue with them or a situation. Okay. Again, the full moon, the things that could happen under a full moon are numerous. Like, it's very difficult to say that this is exactly what's going to happen. And that's with anything with astrology, right? It's sort of the guideline. It's sort of the generality. But the way that this could play out is obviously going to be very specific for you, but it could play out in a variety of ways. But regardless, I feel like there's going to be a highlight on those themes that I just previously mentioned. Okay. Now, Mercury is also going to be conjunct the sun at the time of the full moon. Okay. And so Mercury with the sun is all about expressing yourself. It's about being vocal. It's about being uniquely yourself and expressing that and being it's very male sort of energy, right? Because the sun is a masculine planet. Well, it's actually a luminary, but it's masculine in polarity. And so this is about being proactive. This is about expressing ourselves. Okay. So let me give you a perfect example of how this whole full moon is an example of how this could play out. Right. So let's say you are like an Aries rising, right? And so this full moon is going down in your career house. And then the sun is going to be in your house of home. So that dichotomy between your public life and your private life, that's exactly how it's going to play out for you if you're an Aries rising. Now, with the sun and Neptune conjunct, right, this is about really expressing yourself and expressing your emotions. And with the full moon in your career house, you could be having a conversation with an authority figure, with a boss, with employees, if you are a business owner, or even with the public at large, right, where you are expressing yourself. You're being vulnerable. You're exposing your private life. And this is sort of contrary to this may be something that you don't do often, or it may be something that you're just doing for the first time. And so it can feel very emotional. You can have a very emotional conversation with any of those people. Something about those people may be illuminated under the light of the full moon, which causes you to express yourself emotionally. Okay. That's just one example of how this could play out, but that's the general idea. And hopefully that makes sense. So again, it's going to be intense because we've got Pluto. Oh, and then not to mention, expect the unexpected because we've got Uranus in the mix too. I told you this week was just full of it. It's really busy, right? So both the sun and the moon are going to be making aspects to Uranus, and Uranus is the planet of surprise. Now, because they're making positive aspects, I don't think that these surprises are going to be bad ones, right? I don't think you're going to be like, surprise, you're fired or something like that. I feel like it's going to be a pleasant surprise, but it's probably gonna jostle you a little bit because obviously it's a surprise. But expect the unexpected in a positive way. Okay. You can never be too sure what's going to happen when Uranus is in the mix, but because it's forming two positive aspects, I think that it's safe to say that it's going to be probably a pleasant surprise with this full moon. All right. So that's the full moon. And I'm going to go into extreme depth with this full moon in my upcoming video on the full moon in Capricorn. I should be releasing it either tomorrow or Tuesday. So if you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss it, so you can know everything that you need to know for this upcoming full moon in Capricorn. All right. So next up, that same day on Wednesday, we have Mercury sextile Uranus. And again, Uranus is in the mix, so expect the unexpected. But this is exciting news and conversations, okay? And with Mercury so close to the sun, it's almost like, I feel like you're going to vibe with people you're going to have conversations with people who really get you. It's almost like you're going to feel compelled to express yourself, express your unique personality. And I think it's going to attract people who you normally wouldn't be attracted to, that you could sort of form bonds with, that you could sort of form some kind of, friendship with. Okay. It's learning new things. It's meeting new people. So you're definitely going to want to socialize this week in particular, especially on Saturday. And when I get to Saturday, I'll tell you all about that. But this week is going to be a week where you're either going to find that things get very busy, or that you feel an urge to socialize, that you feel the need to go out, that you feel the need to talk to people that you normally wouldn't talk to, because Mercury sextile Uranus is all about that. This is about being open-minded. This is about being future-oriented. Especially with the full moon highlighting perhaps parts of your career or your public life, I feel like Mercury sextile Uranus on the same day is going to give you the opportunity to be able to plan for the future. I feel like the moon is going to illuminate what needs tinkering or what needs tweaking. And then Mercury sextile Uranus is going to give you the opportunity to plan for the future and be open-minded about what your future is going to look like or what you want it to look like. Okay. This is all about seeing things from a different point of view, from a different vantage point. It's really about opening your mind. I think that many of us are going to be able to at least learn something new that we probably didn't think of learning or anticipate learning, or just, again, meeting new people, experiencing new things, that kind of stuff. Also making Mercury sextile Uranus is great for inventing things. It's great for being innovative, and it's great for flashes of insight. So I feel like Wednesday is going to be one of those days where you kind of just don't know where the chips may fall, but I think it's going to feel exciting. It's going to feel good. I mean, there may be an undercurrent of like a little bit of nervous energy, because Uranus can sometimes heighten anxiety and nervousness. But I feel like all in all, Wednesday is going to be a pretty dope day. Okay. If you have to study, if you have to research, if you have to take any sort of exams, Wednesday is going to be a good day, because Mercury sextile Uranus is great for being able to focus. It's great for, again, discovering new things and, things like taking exams and stuff like that. But for some, I mean, it's not going to be necessarily a breakthrough kind of day. But again, you may just find that Wednesday is busy, like lots of emails, lots of text messages, lots of writing, lots of correspondence back and forth. I think that Wednesday is definitely going to be one of those days. Then that same day, we have Venus trine Saturn. Venus trine Saturn is one of my favorite transits because it gives a serious nature to things like love and money. Okay. If you're looking to make something stable, if you're looking to make something fixed, Venus trine Saturn is definitely the transit for you. If you're looking for a commitment, if you're looking for a proposal, if you're looking for any of those great feel good sort of status things when it comes to relationship, right? If you're looking to solidify a relationship, like become exclusive, Venus trine Saturn is the transit for you. Okay. Now, don't expect Venus trine Saturn to make you feel very emotional. Like I said, Venus trine Saturn gives a very serious nature to relationships. So it's not about the fluff. It's not about the ideology. It's not about feeling good. It's about being stable, right? Because in any relationship, it's not just how you feel. It's also how the relationship operates, right? And if your relationship is on shaky ground, if it's very fly by night or flash in the pan kind of shit, obviously it doesn't have lasting power. But Venus trine Saturn gives relationships lasting power, okay? And that's for better or for worse, right? Because Venus trine Saturn, on the flip side, if you're kind of stuck in a relationship that's not going that well, Venus trine Saturn is not just going to automatically, unstick you. Venus trine Saturn is really about grounding relationships, it's about grounding yourself and your relationship. Okay. So take that as you will. All right. It's all about practicality. It's all about finding solution to things. Like I said, so Saturn and Capricorn go hand in hand, right? Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And so Saturn, when you pair it with Venus in an aspect, it's really about, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. I got it now. I'm back on track. Saturn is definitely about status, right? And it's like, anytime I think about Venus trine Saturn or even Venus conjunct Saturn or sextile Saturn, it reminds me of that, like, what are we question. So, when you're dating someone and you've been talking for a while and you kind of want to hint that you want exclusivity and you want to take things to the next level. So you have that what are we conversation. Yeah, Wednesday is going to be the day when you want to have that conversation, because that's when you can decide and make a decision as to the status of your relationship, whether exclusive, whether you're committed, whether you're getting married. All of that kind of stuff thrives under Venus trine Saturn. All right. Now, Venus is not just about relationships, right? Venus is about money. And with Venus trine Saturn, this is about making smart and steady money choices. This is about prioritizing your stability when it comes to money. So this is about making long-term financial plans and investments. It's also about looking for bargains. Like Venus trine Saturn is very much like bargain hunter, coupon cutter, all of that kind of stuff. So if you're looking to go shopping, and not spend too much money, I would say that Wednesday is a good day to do that, because Venus trine Saturn will have you bargain hunting like crazy. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have here? That's pretty much it for Venus trine Saturn. Oh, but also, like I mentioned before, Venus trine Saturn could also highlight a large age difference in relationships, okay? Because Saturn is all about age. It's all about old. You can sort of equate Saturn to old. So this could be solidifying a relationship with someone who's much older, someone who's more mature. There could be a large age gap in relationships, okay? Which is always very interesting. But this could also foster, it's not just romantic relationships that Venus talks about, right? So this could also foster a friendship with someone, even a mentorship with someone who may be older or more experienced. But regardless, that's pretty much how Venus trine Saturn is going to play out, all right? So like I said, Wednesday, lots going on Wednesday. So now we move on to Thursday. All right. So on Thursday, we have the moon moving into Aquarius, and you'll see the moon circled at the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And then we also have Venus at 25 degrees Gemini. That's going to be square to Neptune at 25 degrees Pisces. All right. So let's get into it and see what Thursday has to offer for us. Okay, so first off, we have the moon moving into Aquarius. So like I said, the moon started off in Capricorn. where it was at the waxing gibbous phase. Then Wednesday, the moon gets into the full moon phase while still in Capricorn. And then on Thursday, the moon is going to move into sign of Aquarius, and it's going to change phases, and we're going to be in the waning gibbous phase. So the waning gibbous phase is all about releasing. It's about banishing. It's about, I'll give you the perfect example. And this is the example I love to give to demonstrate the lunar phases. The new moon is when, let's say you want apples, right? The new moon is when you plant the apple seed. From the new moon to the full moon, the apple seed grows into a seedling and all of that other stuff, and then eventually grows into a tree. At the full moon, the tree bears the actual apple fruit, right? So now at the full moon, you can pluck the fruit off the tree. Between the full moon and the new moon is when you eat the apple. So when you can cut the apple up, you can eat it, you can make pies out of it, you can make apple cider out of it. You use it, right? And then you discard it, right? You discard the apple core. You get rid of any weeds or anything that is surrounding the apple tree, right? And then you get ready to plant new apple seeds at the new moon. So this week, when the moon moves into Aquarius and we're in the waning gibbous phase, this is you actually enjoying the fruits of your labor. This is you enjoying the apple. This could be you sharing it with other people. This could be you making apple pie with it, right? And when the moon is in Aquarius, we have an attraction to new and unusual things. But not just that, we also like to do group activities. We like to commune with people on an intellectual level, okay? And so when the moon is in Aquarius, right, this could be us sharing information with other people. Let's say we just had, you had some sort of manifestation at the full moon. And this could be you talking about your manifestation to other people, getting new ideas from other people related to your manifestation, okay? The one thing about Aquarius, though, particularly when the moon is in Aquarius, personal freedom becomes extremely important to us. Like the feeling of wanting to rebel, the feeling of wanting to go left when everyone else is going right is going to be really heavy, okay? You're also not going to feel like doing your usual routine. You're going to feel a little antsy and maybe a little restless, okay? Especially if you just had some sort of culmination at the full moon, right? So if you have a manifestation that came to fruition at the full moon, I feel like once the moon moves into Aquarius, you may feel antsy and you may feel like, okay, what's next? What am I going to do next? What am I going to manifest next? So maybe this undercurrent of anxiety, there may be this undercurrent of restlessness with the moon in Aquarius. But by and large, I feel like this is just going to be you feeling like wanting to try something new, wanting to talk to different people, wanting to exchange ideas, all of that good stuff. All right. And then that same day, we have Venus square Neptune. All right. So Venus square Neptune can be kind of a challenging transit, right? Because squares denote tension and frustration. So on the one hand, Venus in Gemini is really about multitasking. It's about being social, and it's about communicating with people, doing different projects. Like Venus in Gemini is very busybody. Okay. But Neptune, particularly with Neptune in Pisces is in its home sign and it's retrograde. So we're going to have this tension between wanting to socialize with people, be social, be out there and multitasking, and feeling the need to sort of withdraw from people and sort of look within, right? It's almost like this dichotomy between being social and being antisocial. Okay. And when Neptune in Pisces retrograde can really have you examining like your insecurities and how you feel about yourself. So it can be sort of a very emotional time. And it's like you want to socialize, but you may be feeling insecure, or you may be feeling doubtful about yourself, or even how you look, okay? Because with Venus in the mix, Venus is all about our appearance. So many of us may feel insecure about how we look, which may hamper our ability to communicate with other people and socialize and multitask and do all of that stuff. Self-image is going to be a very prominent theme with this transit. Okay. So If you feel like you're second guessing yourself, if you feel like you're doubting yourself, if you feel like you're overly fixated on how you look or all of your bodily imperfections, just know that everyone is kind of feeling that right now, whether they express it or not. So you're definitely not alone, which may be a good thing, or you may not care. But either way, it's like everyone's sort of feeling the same energy. Now, anytime you have Neptune in the mix, there's always a chance for illusion and for deception. But thankfully, because Neptune is retrograde, I think that we're definitely going to see the reality of people, the harsh realities of people, right? And that may also be what hampers our ability to be social. Because on the one hand, Venus is kind of like, peace and love, right? And then being able to communicate with people. So Venus in Gemini is like, seeing the good in people, communicating with people, all that good stuff. But you contrast that with Neptune retrograde in Pisces, and you're like, on the one hand, you want to socialize, but then on the other hand, you're like, I hate people. Like, people are horrible. People, especially with things that are going on in the world right now, it may give you a very negative or pessimistic view of people, which may hamper your ability to be social and, put yourself out there and all of that good stuff. All right. So there's also this undercurrent of disappointment and discouragement with this transit. So anything having to do with relationships, anything having to do with money, I feel like there may be a feeling of discouragement. There may be a feeling of not being able to achieve anything, not being able to do anything, because that Neptune in Pisces placement is it's heavy. It's going to be pretty heavy. So if you feel that Thursday is one of those days where you're trying to get things done, but you feel discouraged, you feel insecure, or you're doubting yourself, just let the transit pass. It's not going to last forever. It's only going to be exact on Thursday. The energy is going to be felt for a couple of days before and a couple of days after, but just know that the feeling will pass. And it's nothing personal, right? A lot of times when we feel very emotional, we tend to take things personally because we're particularly sensitive. But just know that it's the astrology at work, and it's nothing that you necessarily need to be alarmed about. Anytime there's a transit that's not so positive, anytime there's a transit that makes us feel a certain way, that makes us feel uncomfortable, know that it too shall pass. And so will this transit, okay? And it's really not that bad. But I know what it's like to be insecure, what it's like to feel discouraged. All right. So I'm not saying that it's easy, but I am saying that it won't last forever. All right. All right. So that was Thursday. So now let's move into Saturday. And Saturday is actually my favorite day of the week. Okay. Because we have the moon is going to move into Pisces. All right. And so you see that the upper right hand corner of your screen is 0 degrees Pisces. And then we're going to have Mercury conjunct the sun in Cancer, and they're both going to be at 28 degrees Cancer. Now, if you'll remember when I was talking about the highlights for the week, I talked about Mercury cazimi, okay? And so cazimi is a very technical astrological term, but it's really a nice sort of transit. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll remember that I always say that Mercury and Venus are never far away from the sun. They're always pretty close. And so at least I would say Mercury, this happens probably 3 or 4 times a year. Venus, maybe once or twice. But whenever any planet gets close to the sun, there's 3 different phases. You have a phase where the planets are still close enough where their energies combine, but far away enough so that the sun doesn't completely burn out the energies of that planet. Because think about it, if you get too close to the sun, you will just spontaneously combust because it's so hot. And the same thing happens to planets. Clearly, it doesn't happen like, you don't hear of Mercury like completely disintegrating, right? But there is a time when it gets close enough to the sun where the heat of the sun overpowers it, right? So when the planet and the sun are at the exact same degree, the sun just completely decimates that planet. So in this case, with the sun and Mercury, with Mercury representing communication, when Mercury and the sun are at the same degree, the sun completely obliterates Mercury, meaning that communication, it's almost irrelevant. It's almost like, let's say you're having a conversation with someone, right? And it's almost like you can't understand what they're saying, but it's more how they're saying it that really makes an impact on you, right? That's sort of how the sun conjunct Mercury is, okay? Especially when Mercury and the sun are at the same degree. However, when a planet is cazimi, it's at this sweet spot where it's not all up under the sun where the sun completely burns it. And it's not so far away that the two planets can't mix energies, right? It's at this very sweet spot. And it's a very tiny spot. It's a very exact spot, right? But whenever a planet is cazimi, it's said to be very fortunate. So whatever energy that planet exudes, it does it in a very fortunate sort of way. And so on Saturday, even though the sun is going to conjunct Mercury, right before they get to that 28th degree where they share that 28th degree, Mercury is going to be cazimi, meaning that anything having to do with communication, having to do with ideas, having to do with paperwork, short distance travel, any of those things that Mercury covers, it's like the universe is going to put a little sprinkling of fortune, a little sprinkling of positivity on it, right? So that being the case, on Saturday, it's going to be a great day to communicate with people. It's going to be a great day for socializing. If you have to sign any contracts, if you have to give any presentations, if you have to write any emails or have any sort of serious conversations with people, do it on Saturday. Okay. Definitely do it on Saturday because it's going to be one of those fortunate days that, the universe sort of blesses us with some good fortune. Okay. So generally speaking, the sun conjunct Mercury, this, highlights things like short distance travel, learning skills, learning specific skills, mental alertness, quick thinking, curiosity. All of those things are going to be highlighted because the sun also energizes things, right? So whatever planet the sun is touching or the sun is aspecting, the sun is going to give that planetary energy. It's going to energize it. Okay. So Saturday could also find you being very busy, doing the most, multitasking. Like this could be like, doing some work stuff, then going out, then going shopping, then, answering emails. So Saturday could definitely be a busy day, much like Wednesday. But Saturday is going to be a lot more fortunate and a lot more positive energy is going to come your way. It's a great time for sharing ideas, for making plans, anything having to do with business. So negotiating, sales, trying to get a good deal. All of those things are going to thrive, particularly on Saturday because Mercury is going to be cazimi. Okay. And if you want to know more about cazimi and more about aspects in general, I'm going to put a link to my Astrology Explained Aspects blog post where I explain all of the major aspects, all of the minor aspects, what they mean. And I have a quick little excerpt on cazimi and what that means. So the link will be in the description box below for that blog post. All right. So that was Saturday. Now we get into Sunday. So on Sunday, we have Venus making her way into Cancer. And you'll see her at the bottom right-hand portion of the screen at 0 degrees Cancer. And we're also going to have the sun and Mercury making a trine to Neptune. So the sun and Mercury are also in Cancer. And then you'll see Neptune in Pisces at 25 degrees, which is going to trine the sun and Mercury. All right. So Venus in Cancer. So it's important to know that right before a planet moves a sign, when it gets to 29 degrees of the sign that it's about to move out of, that's known as the anaretic degree. And that's like when the energy of that planet like reaches a fever pitch. So Venus in Gemini is all about like socializing, talking to a lot of people. I feel like definitely on Saturday before Venus moves into Cancer, you're going to be feeling the urge to do that like quite heavily. Like I feel like Venus at 29 degrees Gemini is like the essence of being social, the essence of talking to people, the essence of planning for the future, especially with respect to money and things like that. So if you feel that urge to socialize, especially on Saturday, I would definitely say do it because that's just definitely the astrology at play. And Venus is sort of being energized at that 29th degree. But then on Sunday, Venus moves into Cancer. And Venus in Cancer, it's soft, it's sensitive, It's the emotional side of relationships. When Venus is in Cancer, it could definitely highlight your relationship with your mother or a mother figure. Issues related to nurturing and mothering or being a mother could be highlighted while Venus is in Cancer. And Venus will be in Cancer for the next couple of weeks. So those themes are going to play out over the next month. The essence of Venus in Cancer, though, is self-care. Okay, taking care of yourself, making yourself feel good, but not even just feel good like, oh, I bought a new pair of shoes, feel good. This is about, addressing your basic emotional needs, whether you need to provide those needs to yourself or you need to talk to other people in order to have those needs met or addressed. Okay. Venus in Cancer is very fertile. It's very nurturing, and it's all about self-preservation. Okay. Our relationship with ourselves definitely come into focus with Venus in Cancer, right? Because Cancer rules our basic emotional needs and our foundation. And at the base of our foundation is our relationship with ourselves. So I wouldn't be surprised if many of us experience issues surrounding self-worth, self-esteem, those kind of things while Venus is in Cancer. In terms of our relationship with others, Venus in Cancer is all about affection. It's all about tenderness, and it's about showing love through devotion to other people. So this could be nurturing other people, taking care of other people. That's sort of Venus's love language when she is in Cancer. And feeling safe and secure, whether it's emotionally or whether it has to do with our money and our stability, is sort of the main focus of Venus in Cancer. So again, those themes are going to play out over the next month. All right. And then we have the Sun and Mercury are both going to be trine to Neptune. Okay. And so Neptune retrograde, it's sort of like we're all seeing the reality of life. We're seeing the reality of humanity. And there's something about our own personalities, right? And the expression of our personalities that's going to be in harmony with Neptune in Pisces. So this is about sort of, it's not even so much planning for the future, but it's more so being idealistic about the future. It's really about addressing your hopes and dreams and really thinking about them, right? Because the Sun is going to be energizing Mercury. And so this is going to be energizing our thoughts. And with a harmonious trine to Neptune, this is really thinking about the future, but from an idealistic place. Now, the fact that Neptune is retrograde means that we're going to have a sprinkling of reality on that, right? It's not like we're thinking about unicorns and rainbows and sort of bypassing what's actually going on in front of us. Neptune retrograde is going to allow us to see the reality of everything. So this is a great time to plan for the future, to be optimistic, and to think about what you want your future to look like. Okay. Again, this is about achieving goals and dreams, and it's about seeing the bigger picture of life and seeing the bigger picture of yourself. How do you want to be in the future? What kind of person are you in the future? Not only are you going to have like the optimism to really think about that on a substantive level, but you're going to be able to be realistic about it as well. Okay. Neptune in Pisces is very much about our subconscious. It's about our psychic abilities and sort of those spiritual gifts that all of us have, right? And I feel like with the Sun and Mercury trine to Neptune, many of us are going to be able to understand our spiritual gifts in a more realistic sort of way. So I say that to say that many people are going to be like consciously aware of the fact that maybe they can speak to people telepathically, or that they have psychic impressions, or that they have dreams that reveal important messages to them. Like, I feel like all of those things are going to be it's going to be in your face. Like, you're going to be consciously aware of these things and you can understand them, because sometimes, especially when it comes to like things like psychic impressions, we tend to sort of be like, oh, that's not real, or that didn't happen, or whatever. But with the Sun conjunct Mercury, especially in Cancer, right? Cancer is already a psychic sign. It's already about our subconscious and our spiritual gifts. And when you put all of these planets together, I feel like you're going to be like, no, I really can do this. Like, I'm really understanding how this works for me, how I'm able to use it. Okay. So it gives a sort of realistic nature to our spiritual gifts that we may not have been able to understand and appreciate before. So it's a nice transit in that particular, in that way. And anytime you're talking about Neptune, we're talking about sensitivity. So this could be a highly sensitive time as well, particularly sensitivity when it comes to things that we're hearing and seeing about the world at large. So if you find that things in the news particularly bother you, things in the news particularly trigger you, or things in the news just make you discouraged in terms of hope for humanity or hope for the world, know that although that may be your personality trait, like that's how you may think about the world or humanity in general, but it's also the astrology at play. Okay. So people may be very discouraged when it comes to people. People may be really sensitive in terms of the things that they're hearing and seeing on the news or in the media. Okay. So just keep that in mind when it comes to that. But the good thing is this transit is also great for creative endeavors. So you may find that over the weekend, particularly with Venus going into Cancer also, Venus in Cancer is imaginative, and, Neptune rules the imagination. So I feel like over the weekend, if you're doing anything creative, especially if you work in a creative field, or maybe if you just have time and you find yourself, wanting to do something creative, I definitely think that the astrology is going to support that. So it'd be a great time to do things like music, poetry, art, dance. All of those things thrive under these transits. It's also great for things like astrology, things for tarot, psychic readings, all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking to do any of that over the weekend, the astrology will support that as well. All right. And the same thing with Mercury trine Neptune. So again, this is like nonverbal communication, psychic impressions, being able to think of things from a more creative standpoint, right? So again, great for music, great for drama, screenwriting, anything having to do with film thrives when Neptune is concerned. All right. So any of those things would be great. Okay. The one thing I will say that this transit is not great for is things having a lot of detail, because anytime you involve Neptune, it's all about seeing the bigger picture, not the details. So while Saturday, for limited time is great for signing contracts, I would say that Sunday is not. So any work that you need to get done, you're going to want to do it on Saturday, because on Sunday, you'll likely overlook important details. You're going to overlook the fine print. It's not the best time to do any detail-oriented work. But again, it's great for things like dreaming, fantasizing, creative writing, music. Anything creative is going to thrive on Sunday. Okay. So, my friends, that is this week's astro forecast. So hopefully you were able to get at least one important piece of information that can help you throughout the week. Don't forget to subscribe, share this with anyone who could use this information this week. Again, it's going to be a pretty busy week, but I think we've got some good stuff ahead. All right. And keep an eye out for my full moon in Capricorn video, which is going to be released either tomorrow or Tuesday. So you can find out everything you need for the full moon. All right. So as always, thank you so much for rocking it with me. You could have been doing anything at this time, but the fact that you're here with me means the world to me. So thank you. Thank you so much for watching, and have an amazing week. See you next week.